A big tournament series coming to the south of the UK, as well as a giveaway at the end of this week's pod. Hello everybody and welcome to this next episode of Battlechads. I am Josh and I'm here with my co-host Dan. Hi Dan.
Hello everybody.
And we had a series of special guests on the podcast recently. I love it. Another extremely special guest, Dave. How are you, Dave?
Doing great. Thank you everyone for having me. I'm looking forward to chat all things 60 cards.
All things 60 cards slash 75 if you want to get.
Yeah. You're rundown again.
Yeah. So you are massive in the sort of like south of England Magic scene. You know, people will probably already know you. There's ears cracking up when your lovely Welsh accent comes on. Those listeners to the podcasters, you probably have already met you. You do a lot of streaming, a lot of content on YouTube, and you post quite a lot on Twitter. You're sort of like, the way I see you is you're sort of like, I watch a lot of like Paper Magic where you see from games out of New York or stores out of Chicago and that where they're posting the card games, you know, people playing FNMs and stuff, and you're sort of replicating that at the slightly higher caliber RCQ levels and above. Is that would you say that's correct, Dave?
Yeah, basically, like, I'm not a very good player, to be honest, though I like to play, but I wouldn't want to take tips and tricks from me. So I'm incredibly fortunate that I've got an absolutely stellar bunch of pro tour level players around me, and they just want to be involved and, you know, recording their games, talking them back over, and doing the commentary actually has helped me become a lot better myself. I am officially 1-for-1 with Axiom top 8, so, like, you know, 100%, you know, conversion rate.
Nice.
So, you know, let's not forget that one. We'll talk about that one later, lads. But
I'm still yet to do that.
And we you know, we did, you know, that we just felt like that's the cool thing to do, to represent what we do the best.
Yeah. So before we move on to all those topics around Dave, you might notice Dan is in a slightly different setting. Dan.
Very, very different. Yeah.
Where are you, Dan?
Me and Sam and a few of the Team Chat Magic members and friends. We're in Bologna for the regional championship this weekend. It's very hot and we can't find the air conditioning in our room at all. So please forgive me if I'm looking a bit redder than usual and my background's not as good. And my audio quality is definitely not as good, but you know, you have to make do, I'm afraid, everyone.
Yeah,
happy to have you, sir.
Poor Sam came on to the pre-brief when we just, it was like, mate, your sound is unworkable. We're purging you from this episode. So shout out to Sam. Sam, we love you, but next time, mate. So before we move on to Dave, I just want to talk pretty briefly on the sort of prep that Team Chat Magic has gone through, because Team Chat Magic has put a lot of conversion into the RC this time round through standard. Yeah. You know, we've got, is it 7 qualified? Is it around them?
6, 7, something like that.
Yeah. So you've all been sweating standard. I've not been really engaged with the testing group because I've not qualified myself. Unfortunately, the only 2 RCQs I could do, the furthest I could get was the finals. Got knocked out in the finals, unfortunately. But you know, that's it. That's all I could manage. But you know, you all lads have qualified. You've been sweating it really hard with standard. Now, what was the process in testing that you went through? Because I like I said, I was there, but I didn't really pay attention because it didn't involve me in any way.
So we sort of looked at the meta before Tarkay came out, and we were seeing that it was a lot of pixies, there was a lot of like the red X deck, and it was a lot of domain.
Yep.
So we were sort of testing against those specific matchups more, whether it just be focus testing or whether it just be down to, say, playing Magic Arena or doing leagues online, and just trying to get as many games as you possibly can to either play one of those 3 decks, which were deemed as the best 3 decks in the format, the rock, paper, scissors, and duel. We talked about that in the last episode a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Or is find a deck and learn to play it properly enough where it will beat them. That all went out the window as soon as Starcade came out.
Yeah, it was massively impactful, wasn't it?
Oh, massively impactful. Because the main has just fallen off a cliff. The red deck seems to have gotten better with a new colour added to it altogether in Blue Red Prowess.
Mhm.
So that's just taken the format by storm. Pixies is still a thing, and it's better than ever.
Mhm.
So we've just been testing those key matchups that we're expecting to see at the RC, as well as all the other the 0-3 bracket that you don't expect to see
Mhm.
in more of a condensed meta, sort of just like a pet deck
Yeah.
if you will. In standard, you don't get that as much, but say like with modern, if you're testing for the upcoming modern season, then you've always got to consider the pet decks in the 0-3 bracket, as it will.
Yeah, usually, I mean, Dave, you might see this on like sort of a community level thing where you'll get people who are drawn to a deck, and if as a competitive level, particularly at RC, you have to worry about, right, I'm fully prepared for the top meta decks, but I've got a horrendous matchup against, I don't know, Dredge, for example, and there's always going to be that Dredge player, the Vengevine player who just get you, or Mill, for example. I know Mill's put some good reps in recently, but it's one of those considerations. How do I fight through how do I get to 3-0 in the start of the tournament to then face what I prepared for? So it's good that you've been thinking about that. What was the deck you settled on, and was it a team deck, or did you all bring different things?
So a few of us, or the two of us in the team, and the wider area that are settled on Omni, Sam being one of them. Me and Lucas from the Chad Magic team, we're settled on more of like a red deck, but I'm just either going to be playing mono red or red black ley line. Whereas Lucas is more on the previously alluded to deck where it's like the blue red prowess with the new Corey Steelcooker, which has just taken the entire game by storm.
Yeah.
Like standard, modern, pioneer, legacy. It's just insane. And then Omni decks, a few Pixie players, some green black mid range. Christian is obviously on a control shell.
Yep.
So it's a good spread across the meta to what we have, and I feel like if we had a team deck, it would be a bit harder to sort of guess how your matchups would go, and it would be a lot harder to sort of comment on how a matchup should go.
Yeah.
Based on someone's personal experiences, it could be people play around different play patterns differently. So like I would play around something different to you. So each and everyone gets a different takeaway from those specific play patterns.
Sweet. Well, all the best.
Where did you end up with the Omni? Did they end up on the new Founded in the Third Path combo, or is it the Invasion sideboard plan?
I honestly could not tell you. I don't know how the deck works still after speaking about it a few times on the podcast.
Red deck go smash.
They both just make me blow my mind. I'd like just to go face of my 5/5 Oculuses, so.
Yes.
Well, I think with the new Founded in the Third Path version of the Omniscience combo where it will just mill the person out. But then it's had Jeskai Revelation from the new set to just win on the same turn, but both of them can do it. And I suppose Founded in the Third Path helps sort of get your Omnis in your bin early game anyway, so may as well use it.
So all the best for that, RC Dan. It's good. I'm glad that you made you there once, because you had a bit of an epic getting there, I heard.
Honestly, it's been awful. The flight was delayed. We got to the airport a lot earlier than what we probably should have done. So it was like, 3-4 hours in the airport of just going from pub to pub to the cafe to just sit down. And
sounds like a hard life, mate. Sounds like a hard life.
Yeah, definitely hard life.
I'd be getting to Bologna like half cut, like 7 Guinnesses in, like. Sweet. So, Dave, hello. How are you?
Hello. I'm great. Wish I was in Bologna, because
I wish I was in Bologna.
I love everything Italian food. Like I love Mengu's Twitter, not just for his decks, but his absolute food porn. Like it's just great.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, Dave, you've got a really interesting, because during the preview we had a chat, and honestly, you had a fascinating sort of introduction in how you got into Magic, and it all sort of stemmed from your personality getting out there online in the sort of COVID. So do you want to just sort of like go over your origins of how you came across like content creating, where you started with sort of competitive gaming, and then lead on to how you've gone to this community engagement. And before we talk about the special series that you promoted, just sort of like just introduce yourself. You know, how did it start? Where'd you come from? Why are you called OldEmoDave?
We'll start there. And
okay.
The amount of Americans who get that wrong, they're like OldEmoDave or
I think that like dyslexic Josh was like old mo. I thought it was like old timey Dave or something. Like,
well, the greatest thing that ever happened for my brand was when Twitch finally let you do like capitalization in your username, because then I could actually give people the visual clue of it actually being like OldEmoDave. But yes, I'm Dave. I'm from South Wales. That is a reference to exactly what I am now, what I was, and like everything I always will be, basically. So, but I'm old now. I was an emo. You can look it up online. I was in a South Wales band called Covergirl in the early
it's not a phase,
2000s.
Mom.
It's not a phase. It is a lifestyle. We still got the hoodies. You know, we did pretty decent for ourselves. You can find stuff on YouTube for that. I'm sure I'll get like linked over this by embarrassing me with a friend. That's just effectively the username I used when I came back to the internet, sort of just pre-COVID, and started, you know, doing a little bit of streaming here and there. I loved Hearthstone, or still do love Hearthstone on the side. It's no longer the main game though, and really got into. I do content day job. Like I make training and media content, so I was just like, may as well just start cutting up my streams and sticking them on TikTok. And like suddenly next thing I knew, I had 1,000 followers on TikTok for my Hearthstone stuff. And then next thing I know, I've got like Blizzard pre-release codes in my inbox from like the community managers. I was just like,
brilliant.
This is sick.
Let's go.
So but you know, like life happens and like COVID finishes, and like, you know, you sort of like going back to day job, and I was like, I really just want to keep gaming, but I want to meet people. Like I've met so many wonderful people and connections over the internet. I want to meet people, and like I played poker when I was 20, and then like I played Hearthstone when I'm 30. So I was like, well, I remembered that everyone used to play Magic who play poker. So let's go try that. And so I literally did the reverse Brian Kibler effect. Just came in, and I just wanted to play standard, like, and this was for what was the time, like 2020 at the time, 2021 ish. Like, people weren't doing this, so
couldn't could you 2021 couldn't do it.
No, so when you could actually go back to the LGS with your mask on, and like there was like 40 odd people playing Commander, and then there was like a judge, me, and the judge's mate who was lending the judge a deck so that we could have a round robin. And I persisted because I loved it and I wanted to make it happen. And, you know, slowly but surely it came back. And, like, you know, the only way I could get games was if I built a community and if I got involved and, like, pushed things through. And, you know, and that's just continued and spiraled on for what we have now. And, you know, I just doing content's helped us get out there. It's helped me make connections. It's helped me meet some great people. And is where we are today. Like, we're about to start on an 11-date connected tournament series for the local region, which was non-existent this time 4 years ago.
That's insane. And it's right what you're saying. You know, like it's a shame that now, like, it's not the LGS, because when I first started, it was like you go and LGS was pushing standard, LGS was pushing, you know, standard was the format to get in. Then COVID hit. Commando was the format that kept everything alive, unfortunately. But that's the thing that kept our game alive. And then obviously COVID ended. You know, people were starting to play Magic during COVID because they had nothing else to do. Commander was the entry level format to the standard, and then, like you said, it was at the point where you had umpteen people you could have a Commander game, but as soon as it came to like standard or something competitive, like even Pioneer, it was you and your two mates doing a round robin. And I've felt like I've been there.
And that specific round robin for me was I had built Winota and they were teching against Winota. So like, you know, so like I sort of struggled through the hard times there. But yeah, you know, Commander, like you say, it's like kept the community, it's kept the game alive. But I think we're not going to keep the ecosystem alive without all the formats feeding each other. And like, I say this with passion and completely happy for it to get taken out of context. I really hate I hate what it represents.
Like Commander to me, like I feel
But
I feel
I,
you.
I love its existence
Yeah.
for the outlet that it is. But you know, it's the big circle of life really. And what happened during COVID is
Yeah.
completely chopped out this constructed element, which stopped feeding. And Commander stayed alive, but like, you know, people are in LGSs and across the country now. They're stopping going to LGSs because there's nothing to do in an LGS related to Commander, and they're starting to
You don't
realize
need
now that
to.
the ticket,
You don't need to
yeah,
still just play it.
the ticket price is starting to go 7, 8, 9, 10 to go out. They've already got their four mates. They're going to do it around the kitchen table.
Yeah.
So if we really want Magic communities to stay alive, we all need to be doing events.
Yeah.
And that's what we do.
Yeah. How about you, Dan? What's your opinion on Commander?
I used to look forward to Commander because back when I first started playing, you got a Commander pre-con once a year, whereas now it's every single set that comes out, and with the increase of sets that have come out, you just get more and more Commander pre-cons with more and more sets, which then drives up the popularity of Commander for people wanting to play it, whether they can go through LDS to their LDS or use kitchen table games, which then increases the demand for even more Commander. Like when I first started playing, standard was the way to go. That was
Yeah.
the be all and end all for new players to get into the game. Whereas now it just seems like there's so much more appealing product for Commander that it's hard to not go into a game shop as a new player and pick up a precon and buy some sleeves. Whereas with standard, you don't really have like the challenger decks that it used to do, for example, you
Yeah.
don't have that anymore. So there's no sort of incentive for someone to go into a shop, get into standard, to then get into the competitive route. Um,
They're missing a trick with that as well. We actually spoke about this. Me and Luis did an episode a few months back now, where we talked about finances in Magic and like getting into Magic. I know Luis isn't on the podcast anymore due to other reasons, but there's we spoke about that. It was a really good conversation. And if you look at other games as a case study, so I at the time was playing a bit of Digimon. Now Digimon, you could buy two £15 decks, mash them together, and then you have a competitive deck for 30 quid, like tier 1 competitive deck for 30 quid. Now, and the Commander products that we have, that Wizards are pushing out, they are in a vacuum excellent products. Like they're really great products. You pick up a deck for however much it is, and you are good to go. And like in the 1v1 space, that's not really pushed, and the straight to Commander consumerism is ruining the game, I think, because
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Traditionally, it was like you play standard. Standard was like your main format, as Dan rightly said, and then all the other formats were almost like side quests in a way. You'd go to a standard GP or a modern GP, for example. Even modern was a bit of a side quest. You go from standard push into modern. Modern was like you do a GP, and then in between rounds that was your commander, because you're playing your 7 mana rares that you drafted in standard that you would never have played otherwise. And
That's exactly it. Like in GP London, my very first GP years and years ago, I did the main event, dropped out because I went like 2-3 drop or something like that, and then borrowed my friend's modern deck to see what the format was like. And it was Affinity. It was back when it was one of the best decks in the format. So I played that, and it just got me hooked on modern straight away. And then that's when I started slowly building Infect and slowly building Burn, and even Nayazu way back when that Wild and Cattle was good.
yeah,
So it's just a shame to sort of see those side quests go away, because a lot of the traffic it's just one way straight to Commander, rather than standard and then branching off to like Commander, Pauper, Pioneer, so on and so forth.
And it still works as well. I can tell you this from our own experience with when there was the period where the Pioneer precons came out, like sort of like 3 Christmases ago, and like known to the podcast here, like, and I can probably dispel a probably slightly UK myth that like Ben Jones actually isn't my son. I'm probably just a little bit too young to be his dad, but like, you know, the fact that I retweet him so much, I think some people think like, hang on, is this just his proud dad? And it's like, no, like, it's just Jones is everyone in South Wales. But that is it. Phoenix Precon was just like the perfect thing. You just bought two of them, you mashed it together and bought two more Steam vents, and you literally had the top tier deck. And you know, almost like the whole playgroup bought it, and they also bought a sideboard guide, and then just all still proceeded to get smashed by one of the best players of it. But we like, you know, like you were just in, and that's when, you know, when you no longer wanted that deck, you kind of could trade it away and like pick up Greasefang or pick up Light
Greasefang, yes,
and that got us a community of people in, like a super solid like 10 to 16 every single week. And a lot of them could get in because they could get a pre-con, whereas we had a new player at the LGS this Tuesday. They wanted to play standard, but they came with a pile of cards. Anything from Assassin's Creed to Doctor Who, right? So like, how could we get them a game there and then? Well, like, they were happy to buy a pre-con. The only thing that was over the table was like the Jeskai Commander one, where they would have happily also bought a mono red, lower powered but ready to go standard one.
The problem they have now, I mean, I didn't intend this to be like a product thing, but you know what, let's go with it because it's an interesting subject. The problem they have now is that you know, you have you know, your pre-con deck or whatever, but that's only good for like 2 months because a new set come out, and sets are so impactful now. I mean, look at Dragons that just happened. The set is just impacted standard. Like, it's almost a bit like a rotation. You know, you as Dan said, a T1 deck is just completely not being seen anymore. You know, so you buy this pre-con that's really good in the moment, and then 2 months down the line, new set comes out, and unless you're completely want to change decks or you want to completely change or buy upgrades or whatever, you're going to have a rough time in that way, and it's. I wouldn't know what decks you would have to sort of print or have available where a new player could have that same experience without there being like a constant sort of stock of new challenger decks, for example.
True. But the one thing I'd say at least now is starting to come back with standard gaining its popularity is almost anything can be put together for less than 150 quid now. Whereas at the height of the Kamigawa standard, where everything had to have Fable, everything had to have Sheoldred, no wonder people picked up standard, because your standard deck was more expensive than your Pioneer deck. So like, you know, we're getting there. Let's just hope this Universes Beyond Power Creep doesn't like change it.
Yeah.
Even like when you're looking back years and years and years ago, there was a black-white modern tokens pre-con that came with like Marsh Blackton, Inquisition of Kozilek, like some staples of the format at the time, and they've been popular. They even had a standard one back when Cards of Parquet originally came out, that sort of block of sets, and you had a Windswept Thief in there, and it was very, very popular. And I don't get why they've just stopped it completely. It's baffling.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a real shame because you know, and this is not to say, you know, we're not saying anything bad about the Commander community. We just what we're saying, or what we're trying to get across, is that the impact of Commander is change the way people's initial relationship with the game happens, because people instead of Commander being a game that you would branch off to and try because you've got all these standard cards, standard is no longer the format which you come into, which is a shame because at an LGS to get I guess cash flowing and stock moving, if you got into standard, then I can draft, because not only am I drafting a set that I could put into my standard decks, I'm drafting sort of like new cards that'll come in, so give me ideas for my standard deck. So draft, sealed, all that stuff gets more popular, because what's the point in doing it? Otherwise, you know, like I could spend 20 quid doing a draft, but then like I could just sit on Arena and do it sat in the toilet. On my phone, you know.
We all don't have that oil money to spend on our collector boosters and all the time, you know. So at least be running constructed events to be able to get them across the counter.
So you've made this so sort of like, you know, moving on, not moving on the subject, but sort of linking in with the subject. You've made this community in Wales and the surrounding areas. What were the sort of challenges that you faced in saying, from the moment you went, I want to create this community because I'm fed up of doing a round robin with my mates who are teching against me, to I want to build this I'm saying empire because it's a lot bigger than the 3-round round robin with your mates. This empire that you built now. What was the sort of challenges you faced in that process then, and what were they?
I think first of all is you building it and building it with the expectation people will come, but they'll only come if you're shouting loud enough.
Yeah.
Like I think you know, from a few other personal things of this, I thought I was annoying on the internet, right? Like, and I've always got this sort of theory of like, every single time I post, there's another person thinking, "Oh my god, he's posted again."
Yeah.
But like, we posted about streaming our RCQ 2 weekends ago, and that was my first Twitter response was, "Why do I miss these events?" And I was sitting there thinking like, "Oh, like I wish I could tell him now what we're planning," because like, but at the same time, I'm thinking like we're out there surely, but like you're never out there enough unless like you keep like pushing into the communities that you need to be a part of. Like, you know, eventually someone will tell you if you've gone over the line, which and then you just bring it back. But had to do that, had to get out there. I don't work for, I run it out of Firestorm Games in Cardiff, and you know, it gives you all that good WPN premium goodness, so that we can then structure things out. Yes, promo packs, baby. Yellow Caverns of Souls, baby. So like, which does then let you sort of add that little bit of extra value. So I always just had, and like, you know, friend of the show, Will Hall, right? Like he very much like said when we ran a legacy event last year, it resonated with me in his winners interview. He said that this is like the best LGS, not probably in the UK, but probably Europe, if not the world. And like, you know, he was meaning that because we run a good event, but also like what we had. And I've always just been pushed for, we can make the best thing happen here if we just have the right intention. And, you know, ultimately I just wanted a place to play, and I wanted to see my mates on TV like lifting trophies, right? Like, you know, and like, because this is around the same time like Ben qualified for Prague, came fourth in Prague. I was like, to get here he had to go to like Manalik and qualify there, and I was thinking like, why aren't we literally running these? And like, you know, the store were like, well, costs 140 quid to run one, guys. Like, like we gotta think about this. And I was like, I will build it. I will make it. And you know, we built it to a point where they turned around to me this last one and said like, yeah, you don't have to pay for these no more. We'll take the profits. Cheers. And I'm like, I was fine with that, because I was like, cool, I can sit back and do some commentary or even play now and again, and like, you know that we've got this thing. But I just had in my head, I was like, but like, we've already spread this around. We spread this community wider and wider to more stores. So there's a fantastic store called Full Fire Gaming in Gloucester. There's a couple of stores, Income Gaming and Warp Storm in Cheltenham. And then finally, Bristol, the sleepy city that it is, you've got Excelsior who are coming back up there, and there's a great community element happening in Bath with Bath and Midsummer Norton, TCG. They all wanted to do things, and we'd all, you know, we've been talking in DMs, and I was like, let's just do it together. Let's just not clash. Let's not like get in anybody's way. Let's advertise each other, retweet each other, post on each other's Facebooks, Discords. Let's all try and not charge more than £5 difference. And let's like make it cool. Like, you know, and like, you know, regardless, we're going to be adding like a special playmat into the pool. Like, you know, ultimately, and like, you know, anyone who sees this, if you want to be part or like put your name on the top of this billboard, you can be part of the Severn River Series. And, you know, it will get the traction and the respect that players deserve to make them to want to come, be part of a community. And like the last one is on like the 19th of July in Bath, and Bath's like a 32-person max store, and like and you know how it's like at the end of the RCQ season, like hardly any, like they tailor off because people have qualified.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this is gonna have a waiting list because people want to like win the points, you know, and that because you know we're about 100 players who I see all the time, but if we have overlapping dates, we're not all gonna fill all the seats. So yeah, and I'm overwhelmed by the response of it and what everybody else has said across like different communities, and you know, people from like yourselves and people from up north and out east have reached out, and I know there's talks of something already happening across the London area shortly. So you know, I look forward to seeing some more rival events. And I always say this as well, like this is not at all to like fight Axion or to be same with Axion. It's to like just support the like the next level down, so that the Axion events can be absolutely like rammed to the rafters.
I mean, like, I love Axion. I've got a lot of respect for Axion. I have some reservations on how they distribute prizes, for example, because their prize pools are absolutely mental. I feel like they could trickle it down a little bit more, but whatever. It's their thing, their bag. I will. If I can go, I will go. But you know, why? I guess what you're trying to. I guess the sentiment you're trying to say is like work together. But I would also think like, you know, why not push it a little bit? You know, why can't our series be on par, if not even better? Why can't we learn from each other? Why can't we sort of compete with each other, but not to the point where it's like, you know, we are rivaling or want to absorb your player base? Because as you know, the player base in the UK is very, you go to an RCQ, you see the same faces. You're fighting over the same meal, essentially, aren't you? You know, like there's that strive. Like you look at the SCG circuits and stuff in America, you look at all the other stuff that's happening in New York, Chicago, etc. And like, you know, those people will fly out similarly how we fly out to Europe. They'll fly out across the states and compete in these things. But you know, they're trying to push the limits of what they can do, and they're trying to push the limits to deliver the sort of experience to Magic players. And you know, why have you ever thought like, you know, what could we be better? Like, have you not thought like that a little bit?
Absolutely. Like the bit which is within it, I respect that I'm doing it almost like grassroots, and you know, like coming from that original punk emo scene, like we did just put our own gigs on and make things happen, and like, and we loved that control. This is not about control as such, but I am very much aware, like, you know, they put a bomb under the whole judging structure, really, didn't they? And in the UK right now, and like again, I say this with the respect, like we have a lot of higher level judges, but we don't necessarily have like enough happening at the lower level to like necessarily bring like the next structure through. So you know, I almost feel like the great thing that this series is going to do specifically for our area is like gonna allow us to get everybody store by store who like has got better rule knowledge and has got this to at least dip their toe into like being and running an event. I want to do something massive. I probably will talk off camera about what some of the thoughts we've got, but I definitely think like I definitely want there to not just be action things.
Yes.
I want it to be fantastic things that people want to come to, regardless what format you want to play as well. But I also want people to come because they want, right? I want them to come because they want to lift a trophy.
Yeah.
They want to wear their shirt with pride, and they want to like just be the champion. So yeah, this circuit's the start of putting the building blocks to bringing back some things that we used to know and love, like the start of the national style tournaments that we used to have.
Yeah, definitely. It's so you've alluded to this series now. We sort of spoke to. We've not actually introduced the series. So
nope.
The Severn River series.
Severn River series is a group of 11 RCQs across 7 stores, running essentially from this coming weekend up until the final weekend of the season in July the 19th, I believe that right is. So it includes Firestone Games Cardiff, Warpstorm Games in Cheltenham, Full Fire TCG in Gloucester, Incan Gaming in Cheltenham, Gotta get them all in.
Yeah.
Excelsior in Bath, Excelsior in Bristol, and then Bath TCG. So basically, attend the RCQ, play an RCQ like normal. We're all like the bugbear I've had. I hear there's RCQs out there right now which charge you 25 quid to come to your RCQ, and if you top 8, you get a pack.
Yep.
And that's it, right? So the
Or
one
the
thing
promo.
we're all committed to, based on whatever you've paid, and the packs are a fiver now. You're at least going to get your money back if you top 8, right? We've all committed to that across the board. Now, I think we're all going to sell out, but regardless of whatever money, whatever people come to the stores, we've committed to that. Lots of all the different stores have got different affiliations. Like for those who've seen it, like in Firestorm, we've got a internal sponsorship of Monster Gaming. So like, see, there's additional things that then you come and play with us. Obviously, myself, I'm supported by Magic Online, so thanks to them, we were able to check out some codes and things. So all that usual goodness. But attend the tournament. 32 people to attend it. You come first, you're gonna get 32 points to the leaderboard. The leaderboard's gonna last the whole of the summer. You top the leaderboard, you're going to get the champion playmat, just like it used to be for store versions. It's going to be a special art, custom for the event. We're going to do that all the way through the top 4. Haven't got officially a prize support outside of that, but again, anyone who wants to be involved, we are going to be everywhere and anywhere, and just basically getting you in front of Magic players across the internet. We're looking to stream every one of them if we can, be it on site, or if we actually just like have a table recorded and we're going to do some comms on Discord. We just want Paper Magic to be front and center across the whole of the summer.
That's fantastic. I mean, I'm so jealous that I live 6 hours drive from any of that. Like, I live like I can see Scotland from my house. Like, if I look out that window now, I can see Scotland. Like, that's how far north I am. It's an absolute epic for me to get there. But I wish there'd be something more up north. Like some sort of that initiative. But it does seem to be like you push the communications is really bad in Magic, right? You've got to almost like read the matrix to find out where RCQs are right now. Like, thankfully within the team, I can see a list of RCQs where I can attend. But it's always like a drive away. It's always like so far away. There's never anything. There's no LGS pushing it. It's always a passionate member of the community who's pushing it. Which it's a shame because it says something about the incentive that Wizards are pushing. £140 for an RCQ pack is ridiculous. Like, it's
crazy, and I know this I've voted this out there in the ethos. I'm not gonna not say it is ultimately it's $50 in America to run a one slot RCQ, and it's £140 to run one in the UK. So that's $185, right? Yeah. So if anything gets clipped from this episode, like, can somebody see and hear that in the UK we've got to do 3 times as much before we can open the door? I know people will say to me, tariffs, printing, costs. That is fine, but you sort that out. You're the business people. Yeah. We're trying to make your communities happen. Mm-hmm. If you could if that was on par, we'd
so many more.
We would run so many more people engaged.
It'd be Friday night RCQs, I'm sure.
It would be thriving.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what? Like, I'm so jealous when I see someone win their 2-slot 8-man FNM RCQ. I would have won one of them by now. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, but so like, that is absolutely the difference maker. Is I'm passionate and I love it, and it's really just like been it's just been great to do because the community have rallied round and helped as well. But the barrier for it to happen everywhere is literally that number.
Because you've had to put a graph to get us. I mean, so just talk to Dan there. Like, the team has put graft in where we've had to, I think the RCQ that I last qualified for was 128 players. Do you know? Now that was a 2-slot, and had to get to the finals to qualify. It was 7 rounds of Magic had to beat, and then just to get to the finals, and then 125. I think it was 130 people. That was the last one I qualified for, and it's like I heard people on Twitter like I've just done a 3-round F&M and now I'm qualified. I'm like, oh, man. But that's what you said before, Dan, about, your pet decks, because people will bring a pet deck to F&M, win, and they go, I'm just going to take this to the RC. And that's the one that's the sort of you allude to, right, Dan?
Yeah, they will do. Like you'll always see it. It is a shame to see it, and like you said, Dave, you do see it a lot more over in America, where you've got like these 8 to 10 people, 8 to 10 man F&Ms, and next thing they go into an RC, and now that they've got 2 RCs a season, they're now going to be doing it twice in a season, just from going up to an F&M in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's like you said about like the tariffs and printing and so on and so forth, and you had it nail on the head where that's the business side of it that needs to be dealt with. There's no way that it should be like nearly 4 times more expensive to run an RCQ over here in England than it is over in America. It's ridiculous.
Well, I can give you an example though, and again, like I'd happily hear other stores in the comments either echoing what I'm about to say or saying that this is just you, Dave, grow up. But we run our first one on the first weekend of the season. The promos were nowhere to be seen. It's now about to be the third weekend of the season. The promos are still not in our store. So I did run the first one with no promos. And again, I'm so lucky, like the buy-in that I have from everyone. That like they're actually, most people are saying, Dave, we'll see you again. Like, just it's all good. Like, but you add that on to, like, if I went to a random store in Salisbury or Weston-super-Mare next week, like, I'm never going there again. So like they almost become obliged to like spend £1.50 on postage to send it to me, and so like you add that on, and like. I got a whole fanfare at your account there. We need better, and I don't know how if you want to talk about it and you want to chat to us, the guys, my things will be in the comments of this. I want you to be fantastic, and I want it to be great. Yeah. So like, I'll never sit here and say ultimately this is the game and we play it, and like it's the bit that's out. That's the bit that's out of our control. So that's the reason why the prize pool isn't as big as I want it to be. That's the reason why like. The judge compensation is as high as I want it to be. So, like, if we have a bit more open communication about sorting that out, we can make it absolutely great again.
I'm hoping from this podcast that there's going to be someone who's listening and being like, I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about I've been thinking about stepping in what Dave's doing, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and I'm everywhere on all the socials, OldEmoDave, and all my messages are open. And there's multiple people. There's a great guy, I'll shout him out. His name's Henry, and he runs the Dice Cup in Nottingham. And the Dice Cup in Nottingham, he came to an RCQ in Cardiff, like the last Pioneer one, and finished it. And he said, any chance I can get your year for 10 minutes? And I gave him an hour and a half. Because he just got me talking on this. And he puts, like, for everything he's taken from me and he's put in there, he's running loads of different events. He's getting 150 a weekend for pre-releases from almost like no community, and like I'm so chuffed to see everything that he does, because I know at one point I had a little chat to him about like where can you push that, and that is all it really needs for a lot of people and a lot of places. Make sure when you're talking and you're working with your LGSs, you don't leave yourself short. There is a little margin. Make sure you are compensated, because what will happen, you'll hit a wall and you'll just walk away. And when you walk away, the community falls flat. So if there's something, if you're going to start this,
do you know what?
Almost think about how that's going to be the end result, is that someone can take your job one day and be really chuffed with the box they get.
Do you know what? Like, I feel this. Like, I was helping running events and stuff locally, pushing stuff. I was like working, grafting to put like gaming weekends on and stuff, and trying to get Magic sorted and all this stuff. And I'd still pay my entry in, even though I did all like promotion and stuff. I like do sort of like the the venues now for like gaming weekends and stuff. And I'd still feel obliged to like pay my entry. And it's when you're dealing with community level Magic though, you sort of like, well, if I don't pay in, then it's coming out of someone else's pocket. It's not coming out of a store's pocket. It's not coming out of like an LGS's pocket or a business's pocket. It's coming out of my friend's pocket. So even though I did this work, I'm still feel obliged to pay in. And I guess my point is I never felt that compensation other than if I won, for example, and I got the ridiculous prize support, or you know, it's that level of once you're dealing with a store. Because majority who I've dealt with recently is like gaming communities, and the thing with gaming communities is a lot of volunteers, a lot of people put their own capital into it, a lot of their own sort of time. You know, we had in the preview we spoke about time. Time is the same as money. You know, the older you get, it happens. You just end up making more money anyway, and then you know your time is worth more, and then you're like thinking, I'm giving you 2 hours of my time, 3 hours of my time, and it's like, if I did this in work, I'd be getting a lot of money. You know what I mean? And it's that sort of like. When you're dealing with a store and we're dealing with this, like you are, there's very black and white. The store's there to make money. You're making a cut, and you're making money. Therefore, you're profiting from my time. Therefore, I should get a cut. And it's really hard if you're building a community to get that compensation, which is what I've discovered. And it's hard to ask for as well. It's really hard to ask for.
It is tough, and again, this is a whole other podcast on its own about how to build it and where to build it. I did get some really good insight on my starting beforehand about how not to do it. You know, essentially, from enfranchised judges who have now had then left, were almost like, if I could start over again, do it this way.
Yeah.
So feel free, anyone who's sort of thinking about, I want to get something going in my store, I'm happy to talk, give you any helpful hints, and point you in the right directions of what doors to knock on.
Maybe we should go down for a little weekend away in Cardiff or something down.
Well,
Sure.
Well, I think off the back of this, again, like this is gonna be a DM leak moment here. Me and Christian have long time talked about sorting out RCQ weekend in Firestorm, which with like big value and big time. Sad to say though, boys, he was the one who said, "Don't you dare do it in modern season because I'm getting married." So we had to put that one on the back burner. So
it's always about Christian, isn't it? He's like this. He's like the only child. Like it's always about him.
But that brings us back into standard season then, and it will be summer, and you know, Wales is beautiful when the sun's shining, which is that 4 or 5 days a year, right? So let's get you down here for a big event. So stay tuned for that one.
We'll go down, eh? We'll sample that sweet Cardiff nightlife afterwards.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've only been as far as Barmouth, like which is North Wales, so it'd be nice to go down there and play some Magic and try out the local alcohol. Why not?
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll have it. I'll try get the Monday off work as well. Make it a long one. Try and sort childcare away. Yeah, but you know, there's a lot happening. Where's like the level of your, I'm going to say ambition, because it's the only way I can. Yeah, I know it's not like I know it's not like you're doing it for the community, but you know you have to have a level of ambition to sort of go out and do like, I want to achieve this. You know, and that's what you're doing. You're achieving something. So where's the ambition? Like, where's the limit of exploitation with your ambition? Is it this series? Is this like you said before, swan song, or is this?
This for me. I was like, so I always think about like what's gonna stick around if I don't. And I first of all I was like, I want a community to stick around. I got a little thing for you boys actually. Let me show you my community on the play mat, right? So like this is an audio gaff, but for the audio listeners, this is Ellish Norn with my face on it, and a whole community of Magic players who on my very first pre-release that I judged was the All Will Be one, so I've got the All Will Be Dave mat. So that this playmat's been retired. I've got a playmat holder on the way so it can go on the wall, because this was something I said to myself, the community's built, and as long as we keep doing what we're doing, we'll retain it. So then I said to myself, well, I want it to be a circuit. So this is the circuit that I wanted to happen. I wanted it to be like we all help each other in an extended community, because one store's constructed night is never going to be big enough. You need to like root across. I guess I would love to be at a point where like Firestorm's a great store. You see these destination qualifier events happen with you know, they're slightly bigger RCQs with a few more side events and things. I think for me, I would love to regularly run one of those with coverage and just sort of like a bit of a content focus, people coming down and, you know, getting involved in like challenges and fun. Like, I'd like to get there, and I'd like to make that like happen the right way as well. You know, we've got some, fantastic. I very closely linked to a lot of like this sort of like higher level judges. We're so lucky in South Wales to have like some of the legacies of people judging Pro Tour still. So, you know, we have the resources. We just need that little next step of player base and regular people. And, you know, when, as I mentioned at the start, when like someone subtweeted my tweet, like they were from the West Midlands and said that they didn't know I existed, type of thing. So like in my head, there's something built with about an hour and a half radius here where we can pack an RCQ out every week. Like, if I can finally talk to the whole of the UK, what can we pack out then?
Oh, mate. The thing is, like the UK, like I know we spoke about America. They have the series, the $50 RCQs, all this stuff happening. People will fly, but I found in the UK, like people won't if it's more than 2 hours away. Which in America, to think about America, it's like people, that's like commute to work sometimes. Like people just don't like to travel in the UK, do they? Like they just don't like. We're used to a small island. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, and I get that. You know, some people just can't commit to that travel time. But you know, in the grand scheme of things, the UK isn't actually that big. You know, when people are traveling to like Bologna, people are traveling to Spain, Italy, Germany, sometimes France. You know, for Magic, like it's not actually that we're not that far away from each other in terms of community. So it'd be great to like have a unifying thing to bring the wider Magic community together, and I think that'd be absolutely epic.
Yeah, I do sort of like gotta say, like Paul Padan's already done something, as we all know him, right? You know, like so that and you know, I had a lot of chats with him when he was setting that up, and like I threw all my support, like, and you know, ultimately he was like, Dave, I got this, and I was like, you absolutely do.
Yeah.
You know, all the feedback I heard from that event, quite a few people traveled up from South, was how great it was and how fantastic it was. And like, so very aware, I won't have to act alone if we ever do that, get that big. And I just think, communication and connections is all we need to keep growing. And we could have a couple of, of these things, a west, a north, a south. Yeah. Maybe nationals. Should we get a bit tribal over this thing? Get the Welsh flag flying. Yeah, we'll see.
It's I think you've got to start with a vision, right? You've got to start with the end, haven't you? You've got to think, this is what I want it to look like. This is my vision. This is how I want it to see. Okay, how do I get there? And that's when you sort of start from the end. If the way I'm thinking about it. Because already I'm thinking, I want you to send me your series structure in an email or something so I can have a look at it and I can take it to people around up north and be like, this is what Dave's doing. Can we replicate this?
Yeah.
Even if it's not for RCQs, can we do it? Because Dan will tell you, one of the great things about a structure is like, I've scrubbed out this tournament. I can't top 8 this tournament. However, if I keep playing, I can earn points in the series and then get to the qualifier or wherever you want to do, or I can, increase my standing. So there's a level there because Paul Padan. But one of the great things Paul Padan did was his tournaments ran pack per win. So per win was worth something. So it's not like in Axion. So one of my biggest gripes with Axion is like you could go 5-2 and get nothing. Like it's just one of those things. Like that's my biggest gripe with Axion. I love them. You know, they're doing amazing things. If you win, it's fantastic. I've only ever the 125 player RCQ. That's the only Axion thing I've ever won. But it pays to be a winner with Axion. Where with Dan, what he was doing, and with the tournament structure, it pays to be there. Like just be there and play. Like because you might have scrubbed out the tournament, but guess what? You're still winning because you're still getting your 4-3, your 3-3, or whatever you get. It's still points in the bag for your overarching success in that series. And I think that's an incentive to keep playing. And that's what it is. It's that, how do we give players incentive to keep playing? And I think that's it, that's how you do it. We'll have to have a chat, Dan, with Christian, that because I've got resources.
Yeah, see what we can get. See what we can get going.
I'd say I've got resources. I don't really have any more, but I know people who've got resources up north. We could potentially do something.
Yeah, I will say this as an aside to this is you do not know what an email will get you if you don't send.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
So like, and I'll speak this of like people when I sort of said, oh, my RCQ is supported by Monster Gaming. Like the actual truth of that was I was in the store when the Monster rep was there. I said, oh yeah, you should give us some swag, for we got a massive event on the weekend. And they were like, oh, do you put them on often? I was like, yeah, like all the time, and I'll shout you out all over socials. Next thing I knew, big box turned up.
Brilliant.
Like Monster play mats, Monster mouse mats, bags, pop things, and we got I've held it back for our standard the store champs, because it's a really tough time to get a store champs running this year. But our store champs first prize is going to be a £100 value Monster custom headset.
Brilliant.
So like
that's sick.
So like we're just gonna do £10 entry. Like literally, you come pack, but if you win it, sick. Just take a headset. Like we added that value purely from building a community, asking the questions. I've been turned down loads. Like I was turned down last week for something for this Severn River series. I thought, right, I'll send some emails before I announce it, just to try and YOLO, see if I can like get some big boys. A couple of them said, nah, not for me. Since, because the buzz it created, I've had a couple email me, and now I'm going, see, told you. But so yeah, you have to send that email, however small you are, to at least shoot your shot.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Go on, Dan. I've got a little story.
It sounds like you're just living by the saying, if you don't ask, you don't get, and that's one that I've been, I try and live by, and I feel like if you look up that in like a dictionary or something, then your face is just going to be there right next to it. So really good work.
You can't fear rejection either. Like being rejected is fine.
No, you can't.
Like,
yeah.
All right, cheers. Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yeah, exactly.
It was funny because when I was running the sort of gaming community around here, my girlfriend, because Henry Cavill is massive into Warhammer, and she was just like, I'm gonna send him an email. Nothing came back, but it's one of those things. I'm just gonna send it, and she did. She sent Henry Cavill an email saying, "Do you want to come play West Coast Gamers?" But it's just one of those things that you don't ask, you don't get. We didn't get, but we didn't. She asked, so yeah, brilliant. I would actually be interested to see your tournament structure actually after this pod. If you want to share it with listeners, it's fine. We will attach everything, so we'll attach any emails you're going to send us, any links to Twitter, tournament series, where to play, how to get involved, all that good stuff. We will attach all that sort of stuff. Now, Dan, what's next for you then tonight? Then what's happening?
Well, it's 11:15 local time, so I'm gonna sort my last 15 cards in the sideboard out and hit the hay. I think that's my plan for tonight.
I absolutely love that feeling of sweating over. People say like stressing over the last card in your sideboard. I am addicted to that feeling. I love it. I love being up at 2 a.m. and you're like, do I want to play this? Force of despair in my sideboard. or whatever.
Like the most random card.
Like those random card, like the get 'em card. Like, do I want to play the Stifle? This Tashana's timeline. One of
my hardest thing when like you go to the biggest events though is like stopping that one-off tech you've got for your local meta. And because I did that, like my story about my 1-for-1 Axion top 8 that I did last year was we came back after doing the commentary all day, and I was like, oh, I'm playing the goodies tomorrow. I'm gonna play Boros Energy, and we had that sort of one-off tech card for one of our local players, and I was like, right, I'm gonna take it out. I just had this moment where I was like, I had the cards out of my deck, and I was like, I got Flooded Strand in my deck, and they've just printed Mockingbird. I could splash a Mockingbird in this, no problem.
Why not?
I didn't cast it all day. Full disclosure, the VOD is on Templar's channel because they streamed the whole thing, right? Yeah. They followed me through the top 8. I didn't cast it all day. I don't even think I drew it. However, it got picked up by the dive down as an inventive top 8 of the week, and I was just like, let's go.
Let's go.
Well, so it's just like sometimes what you're stressing over, maybe the answer is just do the thing that will work for the content, right? And and so like and they had a whole like 10-minute discussion about like how like that was maybe like the most genius move that got me the top 8. Well, now do making friends. There's the story, boys. I'm sorry, I now
Send
come
it.
clean a
Send
year and a
it.
half later. It was a complete meme, and thanks for shouting me out.
I remember I did well with a Legacy Infect once, or it was Rhinos at the time. It was actually, and I was doing well with Rhinos, and I can't remember the name of the card, but the card was like mislinked. It was a completely random card, and I got messages saying like, "Why did you do this? Oh, I can see why you included this." I looked at it, I was like, "This does not belong in Rhinos. Like, what is this card? I don't even know what this is." And people were like testing this random card. I'm like, "No, that's wrong. It was supposed to be this card instead." And I was like, and they're like, "Oh, all right, okay," because I don't know why it got the link. I don't know, like spell checker or something. I don't know. It's meant like people see it and they're just like, "Oh, what is this? This is mental." With big brain, you're just like, "Nah, it's just memes."
That's all I had. That's all I had. It was stuck. I thought I had a 4 of, but it was 3 of. But actually, they were stuck together. And it's like it's that basic mountain in the sideboard is actually not for attack. It's just
my enclosed deck lists. I'm a frog. If I'm playing modern, I'm playing frog. Like there's no ifs or buts. My deck starts with Psychic Frog and then whatever. Usually it's in Murktide right now. And I play Harbinger's main, like Harbinger of the Seas main. I always have done, always will. I know you don't see any lists with it main. And that card wins me so many game ones when games I shouldn't win. Like I was at Just Play, Dan. I was at Just Play the other week. And game 1 I was against Boros Energy. And he had a Flage in the graveyard. He was sandbagging an Arena of Glory. I was like, I need to top deck something. I still play Considers as well because I like to do everything in their turn. Considered, nothing, bin, top deck, Harbinger of the Seas. Slammed that bad boy so hard on the desk, on the table. Untapped, he had like no basics. He put his Arena of Glory, aka Island, on the battlefield and was like, I was on like 4 life or something. Like I was dead. Like I was dead. And I just ended up start connecting with Frog and just beat him. And I was like, I shouldn't have won that game. And the only reason I do is because I play my meme card main board in closed deck lists. I wouldn't do it in open deck lists. But in closed deck lists. But yeah, just stuff like that. Just get I know we're getting off topic now, but I'm sort of looking at like closing the end of the pod now. So Dave, can you do me a favor? Can you shout out some of your socials? I will attach the tournament series links. Any links you want to send me. I'll attach anything you want in the show notes. But for now, where can we find OldEmoDave?
I basically have this anywhere on the internet. So Blue Sky, X, Twitter, whichever one you want to use, Instagram, Facebook for the boomers. But most importantly, YouTube and Twitch. So Twitch is where we stream the RCQs. YouTube is where we do the VODs, and we do like the edited videos. We do all the fancy graphics, So like that's the place where you're gonna see it. Come say hi across all of those platforms. I guess. I guess across like the Blue Skies and the Twitters, like if you want UK-esque fire shoes kind of coverage, you may as well sort of like get involved with me there. But if you want gameplay and you want content, come see me on YouTube or Twitch. But I was gonna, before we close up, lads, I just wanted to say, so there's a little gift from me to you and a little to your viewers. So you got to be involved with this community as well. They're absolutely excellent, and from me and from Magic Online, the first people who tagged me with a deck list in the battlechads 1v1, so the first 2 people, I will drop you at a 120 point play point
Whoa,
gift.
let's go.
So first tags, you must tag me. I'm in that Discord. The first 2, you 2 aren't allowed to have this. You've got insider info, and also anyone who's out there I've seen the list who's out there in Bologna. I don't want any insider info on this. I want some community members dropping me a deck list so I can see it, so I can give it a go. Tag me in the Discord. I'll drop you 120 play points, which you'll have to use by the end of April, though. So you better be quick after the podcast drops. But and you also have to have got to the end of heard this. So like, once that happens, yeah, sort it out. Because thanks for having me on, guys, and yeah, look forward to more things to come.
So just to clarify, we'll post the Discord link to it's Chad Magic Discord we use because we are a subsidiary of Commander players, believe it or not. I know we just spent half the pod going on about how Commander's ruining us. Why is Commander? Why do you choose this way? Why are you like this? But we're on the Chat Magic Discord. I'll post the Discord link so people can go on. It's an open invite. Tag OldEmoDave in your deck list. The first two will get 120 points online to run a league and then go infinite like I did a year ago. It's that easy. If I can do it, anyone can do it. So yeah, cheers for that, Dave. Speaking of giveaways, we are in the process of Chad Magic and therefore battlechads is now sponsored by Ultra Pro. That was the one. So we are in the process of acquiring some stuff to do some giveaways. So it's just in the bag. Obviously, the RC, the lads have all the kit's gone to the lads to promote the RC. So that's that the first shipment's gone to them essentially. But we will be getting some to give away on chat and yeah. I think I've actually got some downstairs. I'm hoarding for a special occasion, so I might.
Why have you not used the blue one playing mono red? Like you've got to do the mind trick of checking that down and you go turn one Heartfire hero and then go what is my mind doing?
It's all Christian would give me. It's all I'm worth.
He's at it again.
See, so you know what?
I think you don't need to speak to HR.
So you know what, right? This antics, and I know. We could continue talking towards the end of the pod, but I don't care. It's our pod. It's the mind of the color player, right? So a blue player will play red sleeves. It's in them. I'm a blue player. I would do that. Different color players, white, might go a bit different. A red player, it'll come with a t-shirt, burn, red deck. This is turn one, bolt your face. I'm not even waiting till you end step. I'm just going to do it main phase. Like that's a red player. That's how a red player goes. They're like, I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah.
I love that.
Dan, anything last from you, mate?
No, all good for me. Thanks again for coming on, Dave, and thanks again for giving out the play points. I'm definitely not going to use my alt Discord account to join that giveaway myself. No, I'm messing.
If you see Heartfire Hero or Monstrous Rage, it's Dan.
Oh, damn it.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Don't forget to follow Dave on all the social medias. We'll post all the stuff in the show notes, like I said. Check out the tournament series, especially if you're in France, aka anything south of Birmingham. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to battlechads, where you can receive all the newest updated pods. We already post things on our social medias when we're releasing pods, because Sam and Dan have been not pulling the weight. So
Busy.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you. Bye.
Cheers, everyone.